Alright, looks good. Let's try playing it. What? Okay. Yeah, we're gonna need to fix this. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Ultra Quest Devlog series. I hope you've all had a wonderful New Year's Eve and a good holiday season in general. And I want to apologize for the lag of uploads. Partially due to the holiday season, we've been unable to work on the game, at least to the extent that I would like personally. And because my coding friend has his final exams coming up at the end of January, so he's been really focused on school lately, which left development in my hands, which has been a right old mess. I've tried coding some questing systems and some leveling systems, and whilst the foundations of the systems work, the backend really don't. For some reason, there are issues upon issues. Whenever I change something, something else breaks. So I'm waiting until he's available once again so we can take a look at it together. So he won't have to fix all that I broke, just some of it. So I felt inspired over the holiday seasons. So instead of trying to fix the questing issues and the leveling issues, I did what I do best, and I took to the art and design. I really wanted a Christmassy character in the game, and I know that by now it's a bit late, but I hope you can forgive me, and I hope you'll instead just enjoy the process of me making him, and I'll try to explain some of my process and my thoughts behind him. And if this is something you enjoy, I might make an entire video of the process. Perhaps something that can help other struggling people or developers that want to create something cool but are kind of stuck in the design phase. In this video, we'll be focusing primarily on the sketching and 3D modeling. I remember playing an old Flash game on the internet called Santa Rockstar. And what that game was basically a Guitar Hero for your keyboard exclusively for Christmas songs. And the gameplay I've always loved Guitar Hero, but Santa Rockstar was really janky. And it didn't really work that well playing with a keyboard. But it did have some cool concepts for Santa. It pictured him as this cool rock star who, when delivering gifts, would ride around on his badass reindeer playing guitar instead of actually, riding his sleigh. So that's kind of where the initial inspiration came from. And although Badass Santa Claus gives you some pretty cool visual images, I wanted some more concrete visual representation of this idea before I started making him into a 3D model. So I went to Photoshop to do some concept art. I made a time lapse of the process. It took quite a while, but I did it all in a day. And the inspiration came, as I said, mainly from Santa Rockstar and from just the idea of having this cool badass Santa Claus dude. So I went on the internet as well when I started drawing, and I looked for some pictures of Santa Claus and some rock stars, like Metallica's James Hetfield. I used his bracers. He has some wrist warmers, I guess they are. I used those as inspiration for his bracers and added some cool spikes. You'll see that they quite resemble his. I really wanted this Santa Claus to look kind but menacing. The idea is he's this badass warrior who lives up north. And he's probably neutral good. Is that what it's called in D&D terms? Neutrally good, neutral good. He won't be afraid to kick your ass as long as it's in the name of justice. So I don't know what we're gonna do with this character. We can take him in a few directions. We can make him, call him Saint Claus and then give him some fist weapons with spikes on it, like claws. We can make him a quest giver. We can make him an NPC you fight alongside. We can make him really silly, and he can be like, holy crap. There are so many different directions we can take this guy. And I guess the good thing about making him now is we have a whole year to worry about what he's actually gonna do in the game. For now though, I only really wanted him to look badass. That was my main concern. I really wanted him to have a six-pack, but it didn't really fit in, and so I just gave him a coat instead. Once I was done with the line work, I started coloring him in. First I just made a color layer and then made all the individual colors on top of that. When I had all the colors down, I started shading him. It's some basic cell shading, and I'll blur it out, I would blur it out a bit later in the process, just to give it a bit more of a smooth look to it, because the smooth visual is something that I really enjoy personally. and I don't think the pure cell shading is a good fit for the game. Shading is a really powerful tool when it comes to inspirational art and concept art for something that's gonna eventually be turned into a 3D model, because it lets you define edges and shapes in a 2D space. And what this guy is essentially one big concept art for me to take into Blender and model around. So it really helped define edges and depth. And after messing around with the liquify tool in Photoshop as well, I decided to make a weapon for the guy as well, at least for the time being. I shamefully almost stole a photo from Google and turned it into something that would fit into the game. But it turned out it was really hard, because when you Google a Christmas skin for a weapon, most of what comes up is like CSGO guns and stuff. But after I found a sword I liked, I tweaked it a little bit so it would fit into our game, but I will admit, it'll probably change further down the road, because as it is right now, it's essentially just me recreating something from Google. And whilst that is cool for some stuff, I would like some more personalized features for this. So I'll probably change up some stuff. I would like some Christmas hearts on this sword as well at some point. So that's something I'll need to see where I can fit that in. And I ended up with a result that's pretty cool. It's not anatomically correct. His shoulders are a bit square compared to the rest of the body, and they're a bit too perky. They're sticking out in the front a bit too much. So, but as I said, it's concept art, so that's something I'll fix in the 3D model. And unfortunately, I did this over a few days and on multiple computers, so I don't really have a lot of video of that process. But essentially, I just took the photo from Photoshop, the image from Photoshop, and I built a 3D mesh around it. I took the existing skeleton though from the player, and I modified the existing mesh. That way we can just use the same animations, which I thought was pretty dope. But that did result in some problems further down the line. So I achieved some sort of compromise where his legs are actually rotated about 45 degrees inwards. So the belt buckles on his shoes, which I thought was a really cool addition to the character, they look kind of weird in the animation because they're facing inwards. But that was the only way I could figure out how to fix the legs moving like, I don't even know how to describe it. It looked like he crapped his pants. So it might be something I'll probably remove the belt buckles so it's not obvious that he's a mess. But it might be something I can take a look at further down the line. But for now, this will have to do. I also plan on making some tabard, cape, and wing bones for the mesh for the animations, and that's where the coat will go as well. It'll go on the cape bone. So for now, it's just going to be a stiff piece of cloth that's clipping through his legs. But as soon as the cape is in, it should look a lot better. I haven't modeled his sword yet, but I can only imagine it won't be as difficult as trying to modify an existing mesh and skeleton to fit an essentially larger model. Afterwards, I wanted to mess around with the questing system, and I tried, and it didn't work. So I once again thought, fuck it. I won't bother. And so I took to Photoshop and started doing some concept art instead. So I came up with this idea for a quest log. It's temporary. I might change it further down the road, but I like it for now. And I also made this mock-up animation of how it would play out in game. And so once my coding friend is done with his exams and his finals, we'll be right back on developing the game. Not full time, but there should be a video every other week or so. And I'm sorry for the delay. It's been like a month since the first one, which is twice as long as I would like. But I'm gonna be real with you, the holidays really stressed us out, and the fact that I struggled with getting these things to work, it was kind of demotivating. But I'm at a place right now where I would like to see more progress on the game, and I think as soon as we get the questing system in place, that will make room for a lot of potential growth in the shape of, you know, just creating new quests. That's a lot of easily accessible gameplay right from the get-go. It just needs a solid foundation in form of a decent questing system. And the systems that I've come up with my limited programming skills, have all been mediocre, which is not something I want for the final game. But I would love to hear what you guys think. I hope you can somewhat relate to what I'm talking about in terms of being busy over the holidays, and I hope you like the Santa Claus, the buff Santa Claus, the badass Santa Claus, Saint Claus, whatever we end up calling him. And I hope you have the patience to wait until next year to see him in the game, because it doesn't really make sense to have Santa Claus running around in July. So he'll basically just be in the back of our heads, in our back catalog, until he becomes irrelevant again. But I guess I can show you some of the concept art I've been tinkering with. Some of this stuff could make a cool addition to the game, and if you guys would like to see that, let me know. Otherwise, it'll just come at some point. I don't know what we're gonna work on as soon as he's done with his finals, my friend. But it's probably gonna be questing, maybe some combat. We've changed combat to tap target for now, where you click on a guy and we don't have the UI to represent it yet, but it basically locks you onto that target until you do something else. So auto attack is now a thing, instead of you having to click every frame to make sure you were attacking properly. So thanks for watching. The last video got a few more views than I expected, which is cool. And I hope you guys will stick around to see how the project turns out. If you got any requests, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in about 2 or 3 weeks when we've done something with the game. That's not just me doing art. Until then, have a good one.